Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rayo and Tech. This is Ray America. I'm back with my CYB 505 presentation. This is pretty much an additional video which I am making regarding the previous assignment, which was the C-suite presentation. Right now, it's about cyber threats and vectors. So I'm happy to give you some more new information. Pretty much, the topic in this was we were let's say a hospital, the one which I was managing, maybe having different types of threats and vectors which are coming in. So I want to make this like a 3 to 5 minute video based on like a security type of awareness of not only what type of attacks and threat vectors could occur, but also how to prevent them, and also just make sure that you have the best security possible. So if you guys like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. But other than that, let's get on to the video. Let's go. All right, so we've mentioned this in the previous video, but there are, I would say, around like 6 or more different types of threat vectors which could occur. So we talked about APTs, we talked about cyber terrorism, script kiddies, we talked about hacktivists, industrial espionage relating to intellectual property, and insider threats. So hacktivists are usually mainly known, let's say, if there are two opposing countries who are fighting. A lot of times hacktivists would be able to try to target major infrastructure such as like power grids, such as these different types of areas which are used. And so the reason for that needs to be a threat vector is because we see that they can cause a lot of big damage to like major data over time. Lastly, I've also talked about insider threats. Insider threats are usually, let's say, if you have someone who's a disgruntled employee, let's say they still may have access to the actual login and administration system. What would happen is that as an insider threat, they already have access to certain things, and so they'll be able to try to see if they want to get more privilege escalation. But the main topic today, which we were talking about, were the threat vectors. And so what I want to talk about are not only these 3 threat vectors, but also the difference between a threat and a vulnerability. What's a threat? A threat is known as the danger that can exploit a vulnerability within the system. This is known as either like a physical threat or a digital threat. So we see as a physical threat, someone could actually walk in as like tailgating, which means that let's say if they don't have authorized access, they go walk in after someone who does have authorized access. Let's say if they badge in, they walk in without the consent. That's an example of like an actual physical threat because they don't have permission to actually go onto the establishment. Lastly, digital threat would be like malware. The way malware works is that it goes into a system and it corrupts the actual main BIOS, and the BIOS is known as like the main command area of the of any type of operating system. So it's best to make sure that you need to have these types of threat assessments when you work within the security company, especially within the hospital, since hospitals do have lower security standards as well as lower security practices, since they're not really allocated, I would say, with the funds as much. Anyways, getting back to the topic, we're going to ask, what's a vulnerability? A vulnerability is known as a weakness or a flaw in any type of system, usually found in the actual operating system. These can be exploited to gain access to sensitive information. But also, we see that with this, a lot of information, as well as sensitive information and information that must be private, this type of data could be lost and exploited because there's a vulnerability. So usually I would say a vulnerability is, almost think about it as like if you get cut, you have the vulnerability on your skin being susceptible to infection if you're not able to actually take care of it. And so an example of like a vulnerability would be an operating system and software. So we notice that with companies like Android, Samsung, Apple, they always recommend you to update your software. So you wonder, why must I update my software? The best thing about updating software is that a lot of these software updates have patches, because sometimes if you don't update your software, you may be susceptible to actually having a vulnerability within your actual data. So it's best to make sure that you practice these security standards and practices. So pretty much that's just why what I wanted to add it more to the actual Sorry, I'm joking. Up. Pretty much all I wanted to add here was just more information regarding to what different type of threat vectors and go into threat and vulnerabilities. But other than that, that's all I have for now. I'm making the video a little bit short since this is like a part two. But yeah, if you guys like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Other than that, I'm gonna continue making more videos just to bring some more awareness. But yeah, Rayo and Tech out. Appreciate y'all. Thanks.